Hello and welcome to Airplane Partnership Group. This is the second video that we're producing. My name is DC Surface, and behind the scenes I've got Debbie Forcier-Lynn and Josh Harrington. We produced a video not too long ago. It was an introduction to Airplane Partnerships Group, and I just wanted to take a few minutes today and just expand on that a little bit. We have a whole series of videos that we're going to be producing. We're also putting these videos on YouTube. And back in the day, I actually found this group or this partnership in the classified ads of a newspaper. I was living in Jacksonville, Florida at the time, and I saw this ad, caught my eye, and I'm like, wonder what this is all about. And the good news is that was very limited. Luckily, I got very lucky because there was a partnership available in Jacksonville, and I, you know, started investigating, made the phone call, started investigating, did all my due diligence, and lo and behold, I became a partner in a 1974 Cessna 172, all for the low price of $5,000. So isn't that sweet? But it's not that hard today. So I invite you to come over to Facebook and join the group there. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining. And if you're into this group, you can find a partnership fairly easily within your town or within your district or wherever you're at, much easier than looking in classifieds. I'm pretty sure you're not going to find anything in classified ads today about an airplane partnership. But this group will have people looking for partners, people selling partnerships, people looking to form partnerships. I mean, it's just all over the place. It makes it very easy. One of the things that we get the most of is from people who aren't pilots that are looking at joining this is, why don't you just use the name of the town or the name of the airport where the partnership is located? And because you'll see a lot of three-letter identifiers. And that's what pilots do. I mean, that's just one of the things that you do. And what I recommend you do is, if you're new to this, and you don't have your pilot's license yet, just do a Google search of airports around you and do a search for the three-letter identifier. And actually, it's a four-letter identifier. In the United States, all of them start with a K. And then typically most pilots will drop the K and just say what the airport identifier is. Like, for instance, ATL is Atlanta. GVL is Gainesville here in Georgia. So just learn, there's probably only two or three, maybe one airport around you. So just learn what those identifiers are. Start search. You can go into the Facebook group and put a search for that identifier in there, or a specific airplane that you're looking for. And you're most likely going to find somebody in your area that's got something that would interest you. So highly recommend that you do that, and we appreciate if you come over and join the group. But let me talk a minute about what I was looking for in a partnership. When I saw this classified ad, I didn't really know at that time I was looking for an airplane. I actually was renting a Piper 140, a Cherokee 140, and it was actually a Warrior. It was a pretty nice little airplane. It served me well for my family at the time. Saw this ad and I'm like, I could actually maybe own an airplane and have other partners teach me about owning an airplane. And I thought that was just unbelievable. So I made the phone call. One of the members, it was one of the partners' telephones, obviously, and they were very nice. Met with me first at a restaurant. We talked about the partnership, how much the cost was, looked at the contract, looked at everything about the partnership, and then went out and did all my due diligence on the airplane, looked at the plane. The airplane was in extremely nice condition. Of course, nothing had Garmin panels and stuff like that back in it, but it was an extremely nice airplane for what it was. And like I said, I bought in for $5,000. So that made the total value of the airplane at that particular point in time was only 20 grand. I thought this was very nice because I didn't really know anything about owning an airplane. I didn't know exactly what the fixed costs were going to be. I didn't know what the variable costs were going to be. And I didn't know anything about the maintenance, how the logbooks work, how the A&Ps had to take care of everything. So that was my entry into airplane ownership. And man, what a lesson I learned. It was unbelievable. The guys just took me in. Of course, that's what you want in any partnership. And they taught me everything that I needed to know at that particular point in time about the maintenance. What do you do, and how does this go about, and making sure that you report any squawks, because that's the worst thing that could happen is that there's a problem with an airplane and you get out of it and you don't leave a note or you don't call the partners and say, hey, we have an issue with the airplane. That could be a major problem. You don't want the next partner crawling in there and trying to figure that out on their own or figure it out after it's too late. So it was all the maintenance issues. And of course, we had an AMP that if we had any issues, we'd let everybody know. We would contact the AMP and say, hey, can you come over and look at this squawk? Squawk's what they call little issues on airplanes. And so I learned all about the maintenance side of this thing and what it took. And of course, you learn about the fixed costs. You had the cost of the hangar, and we kept ours in a hangar. It was at Craig Field there, which was really nice. It was a controlled field, but you learn how much is this thing going to cost me a month, and then you have the insurance in there, and then of course an annual rolls around. If you didn't have any issues with the airplane, an annual rolls around once a year, and you have to take the plane out of service. If you're lucky, it's out only maybe 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes 3 or 4 weeks, and an AMP goes through and makes sure that the airplane is airworthy. That's a very, very important thing. But the other thing was that making sure that all the partners were on board with the annual and any of the issues that occurred in the annual and anything that had to be taken care of at that particular point in time. It's not an open check, but there are certain things that can ground the airplane. The A&P has to sign off on this thing, and he has to be comfortable with everything going on with the airplane. And you can't say, "Oh no, I want to put that off till next time, or we'll do that in a couple months." That's not the way this thing works. So you want to make sure everybody's on board. Yes, we agree. If sometimes A&P will tell you this can wait, but most of the time it's not. I recommend you go ahead and do it. I would recommend you go ahead and take care of any issues or squawks on the plane anyway. Um, and then your airplane's airworthy for another year unless something major happens to the airplane or something minor that may cause it to be unairworthy again. So you learn to think about things like that back then. That was going back to 1991. You really didn't have insurance issues like you do today. Insurance companies were clamoring to do business with you and more than glad to help you out. And it's a little bit different today, and we're going to talk about that in one of our next videos. But so you learn about, the fixed cost, the variable cost of the airplane. And as time went on, you just kind of settled in and it's like, I just knew I made the right decision about getting in this partnership. I was very lucky to find this plane. I was very lucky to find this partnership, but I was even more lucky that all the partners in this partnership were were just great. We all got along well. We never had any scheduling issues or anything like that with it. It was just great. It was a fantastic way for me to get into an airplane. It was truly an affordable way to own an airplane, and I just didn't know anything about it at that time, and was just grateful ever since because I've owned numerous airplanes since then and we'll continue to own airplanes and we'll continue to own all airplanes in a partnership. So with that, I'm just going to close it out right now. And we're going to have some more videos coming out on a very consistent basis. And I'd like to just say to you, may you have blue skies and smooth winds ahead. May your altitude always be as high as your spirits and your landings as perfect as your takeoff. And with that, I wish you safe travel